Welcome back to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft Podcast. My name's Chris Speir, and I'm going to be your guide to enjoying the great outdoors. So we're in the water. We're in the second section of the water section of the book, and this is going to be called Pre-Filtering Your Water. And it seems to go hand in hand with everything else what we've been doing. But anyway, we're getting into the holiday season, coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that good stuff. And the most wonderful time of the year as the songs go, and in reality, it's the same way with me. I really enjoy this time of the year. It is hunting seasons, camping seasons, all that, and it is a real good time for you to start really getting into the great outdoors. It's not as hot, it's cooler. It is, some places has already got snow on the ground, so not here in South Mississippi. It's finally cooling off a little bit, and not by much. It's middle of November. I think we've been at 57 is the lowest it's been. But anyway, pre-filtering your water. So when you head out into the woods, you want a way to filter your water. And I've said several times and throughout this book, throughout this whole program, that, one of the most important things that you can take with you into the woods is a metal container of some sort. If you're watching the video, I am showing a metal container. This is a 25-ounce Pathfinder cup, I believe it is. And it's got the handles on the side of it. It's got a lid right here. You can pull that lid off, and then you can fill this dude up with some water, and you can boil it. Now, this little container is awesome, and you can do a lot with it. You could dig holes with it. You can cook food with it. You could boil water with it. You can, drink your water out of it. You can eat your food out of it. It's a lot of stuff can happen with that little metal container. So, when I was a kid, my brother and I would, when we went camping, we'd go extra minimalistic, and we'd only carry 1 pound of dry beans. And, we'd have a number 10 can for cooking, and this would be like a 4-day trip or whatever. And a number 10 can is those giant cans that you get of like green beans or tomato sauce or whatever. It's not highly recommended to cook out of those anymore because they line it with plastic. But we did anyway. And we didn't bring any water. And the only thing we had was a nifty water filter. So this was, I can't really say kid. We were adults, but we get out into the woods with this little thing. Our mom had given us a water pump for Christmas. And it was one of those little military style pumps. You had to pump that thing up. And we get out there and we pumped us some water, and it clogged up on the first time we got to use it. The water source that we were pumping it out of had flooded, and the water was so silty, had so much turbidity in it, it was ridiculous. And it literally clogged up the pump. And so that right there started helping us realize that you have to have a way to pre-filter your water to get the turbidity of sand, grit, nasty, all the excess stuff out of it. And so, in my research and my studies and learning the processes here, there's several things that we're going to go over today. If you're not watching the video, you're listening to this episode online on a podcast. I'm going to demonstrate everything that you see or what you would see if you was watching the video here on YouTube. So first up, one of the most important things to have with you besides a metal container when you go into the great outdoors is, like I have in my hand, a handkerchief. This one's bright orange. There's a reason it's bright orange. It can act as signaling. You can signal for help with it. But most importantly, you could double it over or triple it over, however you wish, fold it over like this. And you could take this handkerchief, place it inside this metal container, and you could pour water into it, and it will filter all the grit and grime and nasty out of your water, and then your water would be turbidity free or grit free or grime free or whatever. Now, that is one of the methods that you would use. It has multi-purposes, just like we stated. It is fluorescent orange, so you can see it from a long distance. You can use it to wave things down. You can use this to create a water filter. You can use this to bathe with. You can use this to filter your water with. Now, I wouldn't go scrubbing your backside and then go filtering your water. I mean, you're going to boil your water anyway, but that's just nasty. Who's going to drink bath water? That's, think about it that way. Who is going to drink bath water? Not me, said the goose. So, but anyway, the handkerchief is a multi-purpose item that people really don't think about. And people's like, hey, I'm not going to bring one. I don't need one of those, but really and truthfully, a handkerchief is a very important tool to bring with you when you go into the woods. They're extremely lightweight. It's negligible on the weight, but it is extremely lightweight and very valuable when you get into the woods. And I typically have 3 in my pack somewhere. For some reason, I'll use them. I use them for, like, if you put this metal container onto a fire and it's hot, I'll hold on to it like that. Oops, I keep hitting this microphone. But anyway, you can hold on to it like that. So it has multi-functionality. It is extremely multifunctional, and it's just a piece of cloth. It's just a bandana. It's just a, what do you call it? A do-rag, a bandana, handkerchief, whatever you want to call it. Well, it depends on where you're from. But anyway, that dude right there is amazing. It's an amazing little tool. Now, being that we've gone over that, there is a couple of other little items that you could use, and you can follow along in the book. We're going by the book. So I use this right here in my hands. I have the Grail GeoPress water filter. This Grail is the most amazing water filtration system that you will ever use when you go into the great outdoors. Grail has designed a system to where you can fill up the outer cup with 24 ounces of disgusting, nasty sewer water, if you wish, and you can filter it out and drink it no matter where you're at on earth. No matter what. It will not work with seawater. It only works with fresh water, contaminated, nasty with fresh water. But it gets out all the chemical contaminants. It gets out all the heavy metals. It gets out all the biologicals, all the viruses, the cysts, the protozoas, the bacteria, and the viruses and all that good stuff. It's disgusting stuff that otherwise you would have to boil your water. I have this with me every time I go into the woods. If I go into the woods hunting, I have this with me. If I go into the woods backpacking, I have this with me. If I go camping, it's with me. If I go boat riding, it's with me. I take this with me everywhere I go. The Grail GeoPress. I cannot explain to you how important it is to have fresh, clean water easily. Now, these things are finite as well. They have a filtration cartridge, a filter cartridge in there. This is a filter cartridge in my hands that fits onto the bottom of or the inside of this Grail GeoPress. These filters are like $24 to $30. It depends. You can get them on sale. You can replace them. It's good for 250 presses or 65 gallons or 300 something liters. Now, these little filters are finite. They will clog up. If you don't remove the turbidity out of it, it will clog up your water system. So let me show you what we would do, what we would use. We could use the bandana like I discussed previously. We got this bandana right here in my hand. Or you can use a little item called a Millbank bag. If you're watching on the video, the Millbank bag, it kind of looks like a Christmas stocking. It's my favorite time of the year anyway, right? It's going to look like a Christmas stocking. And all this is made out of is some very tightly woven canvas and a very tightly sewn canvas. And you soak this bag into the dirty water that you're going to be filtering until it is completely saturated. What that's going to do is kind of activate the the canvas is going to activate the filter media, basically expand it to where it'll let the water through, but it captures all the grit, grime, and nasty out of your water. And so this one here holds, I don't know, a couple liters, and you'll hold it up tied onto a branch and then fill this little stocking up with your nasty water, and then let it drip into whatever container that you want to use to collect your water with. You're still going to either use this to filter or boil. You still have to boil your water. You still have to run it through your commercial filter. Now, later on in this chapter, we're going to get into the commercial filters. We'll get into that for in a couple of weeks. But right now, like I stated, the Grail GeoPress is the one that I choose to take with me everywhere I go. It has never let me down. It has never clogged up. I have always had water, even on multiple day trips. But let me show you something that a friend of mine, Dave, and I just recently acquired for our Grail GeoPresses. And this is a Millbank bag specifically for the Grail GeoPress. The actual container or the actual filter fits down in the bag itself, just like this if you're watching. So it fits down inside the bag. And what I have done, there's a little D-ring loop on the side. I've put a carabiner on there, and on the actual filter itself, I will carabiner the bag to it, so that way it's not coming off and it's not going to get lost. So you have to have the bag with the filter. Now, let's discuss what this is going to do. So we will pull the filter out of here, fill up the cup with 24 ounces of water, and we will pour it in this bag and then hang it up and collect that water back into the dirty cup. That is going to get rid of the sand, the grit, the grime, all the tea stain, all the nasty, just gritty stuff that's going to clog up your filter. And that's what that's going to do. So we're going to put this up, hang this up, fill the water up with it, put this cup back up under here, and then we're going underneath. What was that? But anyway, we're going to put the cup back underneath here and let this water drip back down into it, and it's going to be clean. And then we'll use the filter, and that'll save on the life of our cartridge. You got to remember, our cartridge is only good for 250 gallons, or 250 presses, and 65 gallons. So, what you want to do with these Millbank bags, I got it listed right here on page 114 of the book, is you want to soak the bag in water for a few minutes to allow the canvas fibers to expand, creating a fantastic water filtration system. Then step 2 is fill it with water and then hang it from a tree. The water is going to seep through the canvas and drip down to the lowest corner of the bag. Now, step 3 is place the metal container or your water container from your Grail GeoPress, depending on what you're using, and place that underneath the bag to collect the water. Then, if you're using a metal container, you want to boil the water. And then if you're using a commercial water filter, at that point, you can go ahead and filtrate the water for drinking. And that will actually give you some crystal clear, 100% drinkable water in the nasty woods, in the nasty water environment. In South Mississippi, all the rivers are muddy, tea-stained, and just dirty, real gritty. And I have no problem with my water filtration system when I use it in conjunction with a Millbank bag or the simplest of simples, the bandana. A handkerchief bandana is the simplest way to do anything. It does the same thing as the Millbank bags. It's probably not as effective because you can see through some of this a little bit. Yeah, you can, but still it's going to collect more than nothing. And whenever you double it over, triple it over, and you put that dude inside your metal container, it is going to actually filtrate your water for you. So that's a plus right there. So But moving right along, there's a couple more items here I want to show you. And, everybody, including myself, I can't say everybody, the majority of people, including myself, absolutely love coffee. Coffee is amazing stuff. I know there's a lot of people that they're not even going to get up and go to work unless they've had their coffee, or they can't let work start until they've had so many cups of coffee. And, but a standard paper coffee filter can pre-filter your water just like a handkerchief or a Millbank bag. The only issue with the coffee filter is that once it becomes wet, it's hard to manipulate without having some kind of apparatus to keep its form. So unless you have these. Now, in my fingers, I have, what Rush Limbaugh used to say, in my formerly nicotine-stained hands, I have, and I used to listen to him on the way to work. But anyway, so what I have here is the paper coffee filter, and these are in the shape of a filter, like a, round, kind of like a funnel. And these little dudes right here, open up your container. If you're watching on the video, you can see what's going on, and you stick the water filter or the coffee filter into the metal container. And then you could pour your water in there, and then that will keep all the grit and grime out of your drinking water, and it will help you to, if you're going to use a commercial water filter, it would actually save on your filter. You can use a Sawyer or a Life Straw. I recommend, it looks kind of silly, but filling up your metal cup, like this little cup I got right here in my hand, you fill this cup up, and then you filter it with some kind of apparatus, such be a Millbank bag or a handkerchief or a coffee filter or whatnot. But you fill this cup up and then use your Life Straw to suck it out of that cup. All right. Now, that is just to save on your Life Straw, because eventually Life Straws are cheap. Life Straws are finite. They're What's the word I'm looking for on this? They are extremely replaceable. They are replaceable. And that's the word I was looking for, is replaceable. And, once they clog up, you can easily obtain a new one at a lot of department stores, at a lot of sporting goods stores, stuff like that. So they have them now all over the place. And if they don't have the Life Straw brand, there is different brands that you can get. But these filters right here, and it's weird because I thought it said 4 coffee filters, but there's 40 of them in this box. And, I got the box for like 90 cents somewhere, 99 cents at the salvage store. Yeah, 99 cents for 40 count of filters. The only place I would use them is in the woods. I'm not going to use them here at home. So, but anyway, the water filter, the standard coffee filter, is the way to go. Now, staying on the tradition of coffee here, or the concept of coffee, I touched on this in the book, and I spoke of it in several videos I've done. Using the K-Cup filter, the reusable K-Cup filter in the woods. You take this little filter, and that's what I have here in my hands right now. You open this up, you put it inside your cup or whatever, and you pour your water through it, and it will actually filtrate all the grit and grime out of your water. Now, it may let some stuff pass depending on how fine that mesh is, but what I understand and what I've used and seen is that there's not going to be a lot of grit. It will capture the majority of all the sand, and you're not going to have much grit in your drink. And so it's not going to really clog up any water filters or anything like that. But experiment with different types of coffee filters, water containers, and find a good combination. You could, you could make some kind of way to pre-filter your water before you get it. Even if you sewed together a handkerchief, some way to pre-filter your water before you got into the great outdoors. It don't have to be any of these suggestions. I suggest that it is, but you can make your own. You can make your own. And that's the whole premise of this book, is that you don't have to, you're not confined to somebody else's opinion. You're not confined to quote unquote survivalists ideals. And, all the stuff that people have written throughout the years is, one, their experiences in the woods, their experiences in the great outdoors, and two, their thoughts, their ideas, their theories. And that's basically what bushcraft and survival is. You have an experience and you're applying your experience to a certain theory or a certain way. And then you go out and test it, and then you're like, hey, that works, so let me show everybody. And that's what it is, and that's what it comes out to. But there's no right way. There's absolutely no wrong way to enjoy the great outdoors. You can go enjoy the great outdoors any way that you want to. Now, some people will argue with you and differ with you, but practice doing things that off of nature. If you were in the great outdoors and you needed to get the grit and the grime out of your water, how would you do it? Survival books demonstrate the tripod water filter. And I have demonstrated the tripod water filter time and time again on videos. And it works. It really does work. But that's pre-filtering your water. That's getting the grit, the grime, and the nasty out. The tripod water filter is not going to make your water safe to drink. Clay Hayes just did a video, and I think I discussed it last time, but left links in his video in there. But the old sand, charcoal, and grass technique is actually still leaving tons enough of E. coli in the water for you to get sick. And, for you to get sick off of these water sources is, like cryptosporidium or beaver fever. It's not going to hit you that day. It's not going to hit you the next day. It's going to hit you several days down the road when you think nothing's wrong. And so you're going to you drink out of a questionable source, and then, 4 or 5 days later, you get sick as a dog and you start vomiting, throwing up, and you end up dehydrated because you can't drink enough water. And, that's for a miserable time. And when you're out into the great outdoors, it's bad. Dehydration can lead to arrhythmias, heart arrhythmias, stuff like that. And if you're prone to go into AFib, I don't recommend that. Like I am. I'll go into AFib for no reason, and I can't help it. It is what it is. And, but I'm just whatever. It is what it is. If I go into AFib, I just get out of the woods and I go to the hospital. That has not happened to me yet. I have had AFib once, but I was fortunate enough not to be in the woods whenever that happened. So, but anyway, find a way that works for you to filter your water. And my recommendation at a minimum is bring a handkerchief with you. It is extremely lightweight, is very negligible as far as the weight goes, and you can put it in your pocket, you can put it in your backpack, you can put it in your fire kit, you can put it wherever you want it. I mean, that's not hard to do. You could stuff it in this cup if you have nothing else in that cup to take with you into the woods. Now, another item that I highly, highly, highly recommend, and if you're going to have a Grail GeoPress with you, then I do recommend having a Millbank bag. And I'll try to leave a link in the description of this video and podcast and the show notes. But this is from Campcraft Outdoors. And I found this on their website, and I searched and searched. I was going to make one. Just for this, just for this water filter. And I ran across their site, and I was like, for $15 or $16, I can't remember exactly how much it was. My friend Dave, he picked up 2 of them and gave me one, but I was going to make them, and he picked them up, and now we got these, and we got a trip coming up this week. Going to be kayaking down the river again on a squirrel hunt. But the last time we went, I brought my GeoPress, and he absolutely fell in love with it. And he has a GeoPress now. And so we're going to be heading down the river and drinking from the GeoPresses. And, we're going to be using our little Millbank bag. So I'm going to be filming videos on how to use the Millbank bag with the GeoPress, and then, going from there. But the Millbank bag is a remarkable tool. All these are just tools. In the end, you can get away without it. You can get away without having any of these things, but it is nicer to be able to not have grit in your water. And every time you bite down or clench down, you're have grit breaking in your mouth. So, there's also chemical disinfection, and that's going to be an entire episode next week on its own. So, but anyway, we touched on having a metal container, which, if you're starting to realize how many times have I said it's important to have a metal container with you when you go into the great outdoors. A lot, not just for survival or bushcraft, but just primitive camping. When you go on primitive camping, take a metal container with you. My setup for this weekend's camp out trip, I'm bringing a metal container. I'm bringing this right here with the GeoPress. I'm bringing my Grail GeoPress with the Millbank bag. Let's see. I'm bringing a tarp. I'm bringing a sleeping mat, and then some food and a change of clothes. And I believe that's it. That's all I'm bringing on this trip. Shotgun and some shotgun shells because we're going squirrel hunting. But other than that, that's all I'm bringing on this trip. And it's going to be a very lightweight trip. I might even bring a camera. I don't know. I typically spend a lot of time filming and not enjoying. And this time I'm going to enjoy and not film. So if anything, I have a camera on my cell phone, and I have a camera on my, I'll bring my GoPro in, for stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to film the how to filter your water. I forgot I was going to do that. So I am going to film, but all right. Well, that's it for today's episode. I really do appreciate everyone that stopped by. And I really do appreciate the support that I'm getting from you guys, and all the comments that I'm getting. And, it blesses my heart to know that people out there are interested in something that I have to say. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. I really do appreciate you. And right now, coming up to Black Friday, I'm telling you, go out to Amazon right now. It's $14.40 for a copy of the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft. And then also, I think they have a sale on the Grail GeoPress. Check out my Amazon influencer page. It is amazon.com/shop/Speir Outdoors, or just type in Speir Outdoors on the Amazon page. I'll leave a link in the description here. And I've got lists of things to get from there, camping, survival, bushcraft, how to make a first aid kit, stuff like that. And items to put in that first aid kit, from sutures all the way up to lip balm. And then for camping, I got water filtration systems and tents and hammocks and blankets and, all the stuff that I could carry with me in a backpack to go out into the woods and stay for weeks at a time and down here and make it a very enjoyable trip. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next video and in the next podcast. God bless you.